So here's the exhaust setup that was on the car. It's the stock mid pipe with Flowmaster mufflers, and you'll see how it sounds compared to the next setup. So that sounds pretty stock. It sounds alright, a little bit better than stock. But anyway, here is a free-flowing H pipe that my friend had sold me a little while ago, so I'm going to put this on and see how it sounds with the Flowmasters. I got it off pretty well, but I had a lot of trouble with the bolts. They were stripping to get them on, one of the studs. So I went down to the hardware store, I got all new hardware, and it's always nice to take a perfect running car to go on a parts run for your other car that's not running perfect at the time. So went down to this nice place, enjoyed taking the mach there. Here's the first half of the new setup. So this is with the Flowmasters and the free-flowing H pipe, and then we'll change it up to the magnapacks. You see this little piece fly out of the exhaust down there? Yep, right there. That's actually part of the inside of the Flowmasters. They were starting to rot on the inside. And I'll show you a picture of that here in a minute. So that was my brother driving it around so I could hear it. It sounded pretty good, but it's still kind of choked up in the higher RPM range, and it didn't have a lot of grunt. But I do have these magnapacks that my friend had sold me as well, and I could have bolted them on and left them as open, kind of like dump mufflers at the end, but I really knew that inside the best thing that I wanted to do was take them to an exhaust shop and have them welded in. Now, the reason I don't like to do that is because obviously you have to make an appointment and you have to have somebody else drive the car up onto the lift, and there's just a lot involved in doing that. And for me, I just hate having to make appointments for things like this, but it was the best thing to do, and so I did it. You can see this guy checking the exhaust, making sure that the tips were straight. With the Flowmasters, they weren't quite straight, and he did an amazing job. He was a very good welder. This is where I took my red Mach 1 to have the exhaust welded, one of my '03 GTs. My brother had his white GT taken here and had the Borlas that I had sold him welded in at this shop. And as a matter of fact, both of our V6 Mustangs had their '02 Mustang GT catback true dual setups welded in here. And so this shop is actually kind of cool for my brother and me because it's where we've gone every time we've had exhaust put on the car, and besides catbacks that we've done ourselves, and we've been able to have that moment of watching our car for the first time start up with a new exhaust, and it is always so fun. You're just anxious and ready, and you want to see how it sounds, and you're hoping it sounds good, and for me it always has sounded good when I've had that done here. So this shop was really good, and it was about $110 to have it welded in. In the past, they've charged me about $80 or so, so I know prices have gone up a little bit. And I've had friends go in there and they do it for free. I don't know why they've helped my friends out, but anyway, I'm happy to pay the 110 because there's a smaller shop here in town that's like a professional metal shop, and they're trying to get business, and I contacted them first and said, do you want to try to do this? It's just welding 2 mufflers in. And I had showed them on my red Mach 1 that I had this exact procedure done before, and they said, yeah, it'd be about $250 to have it welded in. And I'm like, you know, you're a little high on the price, because I always do it for like 80. I told them 80 bucks because that's what it was before. It ended up being 110, but still, that's so much better than more than double. $150 more is what the other people were trying to charge me. And so I showed him this picture of my red Mach 1 and said, this is where I had it done last time. This is what the job looks like. This is what you need to do. And he's like, yeah, it's going to be like 250 bucks. So I was like, forget it. So I made an appointment for the yellow Mach 1. And I'm so excited. It sounds amazing. Here's the first startup, and here's how it sounds now. I'll do exhaust videos later, but this is what it is. Heck yeah, man. I was really excited. It sounded so good. And there was even a sheriff getting his oil changed in the bay next to this. And so he was walking around the shop being nice, talking to people and stuff, and he was watching all this go on. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to have to make sure to keep it down when I drive the car around, because he already knows me now. But this is so much better than those Flowmasters. The car can actually sound like it should. You can hear the beautiful 4.6. And as for those Flowmasters,
and if I ever see you two again, it will be too soon.
my blue Mach 1 had a really nice Flowmaster cap back on it, and so did my Torch Red Mach 1 and my 98 Cobra, but I just don't think that they give the 4.6 liter the justice that it deserves. The 4.6 is such a good sounding engine when it's wide open, and the Flowmasters are good for kind of rumbling around at low speed, and they're good for the Fox body cars, the older pushrod engines. People really like that sound, but for me, I really love how nasty and deep and throaty that this new setup is especially. And I just really like the car being loud enough that I feel happy with it, and I'm excited to drive it every day. So that's the update for the yellow Mach 1, and I'm really pleased with how the exhaust came out, and I'm enjoying it right now, driving it every day. So stay tuned, there's more coming for this car.